Welcome back. Now, the pilots involved in the Ethiopian Airlines crash have been cleared of wrongdoing. The country's transport ministry has released a preliminary report into the incident. It's found the pilots followed all proper procedures and the Boeing 737 MAX 8 crashed shortly after takeoff last month, killing all 157 people on board. The plane was traveling to Nairobi from Addis Ababa, and it was the second crash involved in the Boeing plane in 5 months. Now, several airlines have now grounded the specific model, and investigators are recommending the jet manufacturer review its aircraft flight control system.
Since repetitive, uncommanded aircraft nose-down conditions are noticed in this preliminary investigation, it is recommended that the aircraft flight control system related to the flight controllability shall be reviewed by the manufacturer.
While it's the politics of race, we ask, is our democratic society a breeding ground for racists from both sides? Two groups have accused each other of racism, and now the IEC is caught in the middle. We've got the Freedom Front Plus, which wants a black first, land first, disqualified from contesting elections, accusing the party of being racist. It's ironic considering the party prides itself for championing the interests of minority groups.
We stand for minority group rights because South Africa is a community of communities. We aren't only one group, we aren't only black and white, we have different cultures and we have different groups that all need representation, and that can make South Africa actually great.
While Black First Land First has in turn also accused the Freedom Front Plus of racism, the party says it's unapologetic about strictly championing the interests of marginalized black people.
We stand for in our name, black first, land first.
Okay.
Black is in this country right now, black people are at the bottom.
Okay. How do we define black?
Black, just like Steve Biko did.
Okay.
Colored Indian African. That's
okay.
Black. The formerly oppressed people are black people.
I'm with you.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's land first. We can't be black first without getting the land first.
Okay.
So our project is really limited to this. Get back the land from white people who stole it.
Well, let's probe the politics behind the values of the two groups. We're joined via Skype by Wouter Wessels from the Freedom Front Plus, and in studio I'm joined by the BLF President, Andile Mngxitama. Well, thank you so much to the both of you for joining us this evening. Andile, I'm going to start off with you. You say that the Freedom Front Plus is racist. And do you think that they've got any grounds to come on board and say that they want you disqualified from the election race, just on the premise of the fact that you're saying you stand for black membership?
Yes. First, let me just say, Black First Land First had a very good week. We started off Sunday with dinner with former President Zuma, whom we regard as the father of radical economic transformation, which is our project. And then we just walloped the Freedom Front Plus, these racist land thieves who ran away from us. They were very confident. We were here when they were launching their application. We told them that they have no leg to stand on. And we also said that they are doing it because they're panicking, they're scared, they're terrified. Black First Land First is going to Parliament. They are doing everything to stop us from going to Parliament.
Why do you think that they're scared of you?
Because, see, we can't be bought, and they know we're going to get their land. Because Freedom Front Plus, remember, represents farmers, and these farmers are land thieves. These are the people who stole our land. Furthermore, Freedom Front Plus is, if you look, is Genesis. And now you can ask them, do they believe still in the Boer state? They want a Boer state. They want an apartheid project where they themselves have a piece of our land where they say self-determination. It is really dragging us back to apartheid. Okay, they are a racist organization. We must not...
You know, Wouter joins us via Skype right now so that we can ask about this very same Boer state instead of hearing it from a third party. Wouter, do you want a Boer state?
No. No, we don't stand for a Boer state. We do stand for self-determination of all groups in South Africa. And that's a constitutional right and an international right of communities to have self-determination. And Andile does not understand the concept of self-determination, although he does promote the self-determination of the Palestinian people. So it doesn't make sense. But anyhow, what we must remember is that we are not scared. We did not run away from the BLF. We withdrew our application in the election court on Friday already. The BLF already were notified of that on Friday, the 29th. Andile commented on it in a Sunday newspaper, and yet they show up at court today as if the court would have gone forth. That's opportunistic. Fact of the matter is there's a jurisdictional argument, a technical argument that we said the court might rule against us on. And we said we won't take the chance that the court is going to rule on a jurisdictional matter and not hear the merits of the case. We feel very strong on the merits, and we still feel, after legal counsel, that we have a strong case based on merits, and that's why we appeal to the Election Commission now.
Wouter, because, I mean, you've withdrew that case instead. But I have to ask the question around self-determination. What does a self-determined state look like, where different racial groups actually get to exercise this right of self-determination?
Well, they live together in a unified South Africa, unified in our diversity, but with self-determination of a community. And it's not a racial grouping, it's a community that can make decisions on their own, giving back the power to make decisions to all communities. But let me just go back to that, because you interrupted me there. The fact of the matter is, we didn't leave the gate. We already on Monday lodged an appeal with the Commission, because that's a jurisdictional argument. And we already lodged that appeal with the Commission, and we gave them 7 days to make a decision on that. And then we'll reopen the case at the electoral court, depending on that appeal.
So do you stand, I must go back to you while Wouter is getting his signal correct. Do you stand for non-racialism?
No, but
that has been the question now. The question has been, okay, because you're saying that you stand for black people, that is, you know, black, Indian, coloreds, and it's those who were, you know, downtrodden, those who were at the receiving end of an apartheid system, those who were at the receiving end of colonialism. You stand for those people. However, I must ask you, do you stand for all people across all colors and creeds to live in a unified South Africa? Do you stand for that?
Yes. We stand for anti-racism, but we recognize that right now South Africa is a racist country where you have racists such as Freedom Front Plus. When they say the self-determination, they mean the Boer start. There's no other self-determination. It makes no sense. It's lying, absolutely.
So it's lying.
Absolutely. Okay. They stand for the Boer start. And of course, this is also an insult to equate land thieves, colonialists, with Palestinian people who are the oppressed and dispossessed of the land. So these guys, they just want a Boer start, and they are racist and they are scared. When he says that this is technical, they are afraid to go to this. That's what he's admitting. Why are they not in court? Why did they come and argue? Why are they withdrawing? When we told them that they had no case, and the IEC told them already, nothing new from this claim that, no, now they want to go to another jurisdiction. They were told through a letter by the IEC that the door they're knocking on, it's the wrong door. They still were arrogant because they're white people, and they just want to mobilize their constituency to say they're fighting against Black First, Land First.
You say that they're arrogant because they're white people. Are you saying that on that premise that all white people are arrogant?
Absolutely. In fact, all white people are beneficiaries of apartheid. All white people are beneficiaries of colonialism and land theft. All of them. On the other hand, black people are victims. And this country is a shocking thing. 35,000 white families, members of this Buddhist organization, own 80% of the land. So it means apartheid has not ended. In fact, we will also beat them on the substantive question. And I am also a bit shocked that there's an equivalence here, moral equivalence between us, Black First, Land First, fighting against racism with racists who are land thieves and continue to refuse to account for apartheid. There's no moral equivalence. Blacks can't be racist.
So they're refusing to account for apartheid. Wouter, are you refusing to account for apartheid? Because you are shaking your head, and as much as I can't see it, but you're shaking your head vehemently around what Andile here is saying. So are you racist? Because you do stand for the minority, right? You do stand for minorities. You've just said that, so that's we know. But also, when you're standing for the rights of the minority, what about the rights of the majority that make up this country, number two? And what do you say when it comes to issues around land? I mean, you're very clear about them, but when it comes to issues around addressing the injustices of the past, how do you do so most effectively without having to take on that which was lost? And part of that which was lost is land.
Well, firstly, we say that South Africa is a community of communities. There is no majority. We are a group of minority groups in South Africa. We are different minorities, and it's not a racial thing. We should de-racialize the black-white arguments. We should take it to cultural groups, communities, people that stand together, it's people that live together, that should have rights to make decisions on their own independently.
Wouter, I am struggling to hear you a little bit, but it sounds, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds more like a Bantustan, doesn't it? I mean, if you're saying that if we need to segmentize people according to, culture, according to go further than race, in other words, we've got a group of minorities, that means that we have to now segmentize people according to Zulu, Sotho, Xhosa, and then Indian and Tamil, and then go into it and by profiling them. Doesn't that remind you of the Bantustan? And if it does remind you of a Bantustan, what does that say about a modern South Africa where everybody lives together in the land of the free, so to say?
You misunderstand self-determination. Self-determination is not necessarily territorial. It's not to say that there's a Bantustan, people must go and live in a certain area based on cultural grouping. It has to do with the rights of communities, and it has to do with living within the bigger South Africa, but still having to make decisions on your own, having language right, as our Constitution does provide. And our Constitution provides for self-determination, Article 2.5. So it's a modern concept. Yeah. It's a modern liberal concept. It's nothing to do with apartheid or with Pakistan.
But unfortunately, we're struggling. Unfortunately, we are struggling to hear you there. I do understand that you are in the Free State at the moment, so we will, hopefully get to hear the gist of it. But we got the gist of your conversation around saying that it is not Bantustans. Do you believe him?
No, but I mean, also I'm a little bit impatient and irritated that we, as black people, a black majority, have to listen to racists articulating an apartheid project where they want us to go back to their little Bantustan again. These people, this group of white extremists, they have not accounted for apartheid, colonialism, land theft. They are in parliament contesting the black majority in our country, taking us to court. We must listen to these people who have oppressed us. It's a shocking thing. Today, there's an equivalence between us and them. These are colonialists who have no right to be in this country. In fact, they must go back to Holland or wherever they come from. This country belongs to black people, and we are tired of their racism and the fact that our constitution gives them rights to actually question us. Black First Land First is Saturday launching our battle plan for election. We want a new constitution so that these oppressors can account. And if they don't account, they must go home. We are tired, really. I mean, I can't sit here, engage with racists in my country, which basically they've stolen and they have no desire to return it. And then they talk about self-determination. Still, no, I don't think we are there now. Black First Land First is here and they know we're going to parliament. We will not be bought, we will not be intimidated like all those other parties who failed to expropriate land without compensation when they have... No, those parties failed. No, this is a fact. ANC and EFF failed to amend the constitution. They have the 2/3. They had agreed already in February 2018. What stopped them from amending the constitution? Because they're in the pockets of white monopoly capital. That's the only explanation. What else?
As I said, when we start talking about other parties, let us give them an opportunity of a right of reply. You had Wouter here from the Freedom Front Plus, but on the other side, when it comes to you, you've got the right of reply. So until the African National Congress as well as the Economic Freedom Fighters are here on the table having a conversation alongside you,
facts are facts.
Then we can't say
facts
that.
Facts are facts. We're going to parliament. That's the important thing.
Well, we're going to see that in parliament.
We're going to parliament.
Andile, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. Andile Mngxitama, who is the president of the BLF there, as well as Wouter Wessels representing the Freedom Front Plus, speaking about whether or not they are racist. You get to be the judge of that, and obviously South Africa, the vote is in your hands come May 8th. Well, sporting updates are up next, and then there are doctors overdiagnosing as well as over-medicating ADHD. What treatment alternatives do desperate parents have for this disorder? We discuss this and more shortly after.